Hello, everybody. This is Gilbert Gottfried. I'm in hell now. It's me and Norm and Bob Saget, and we're being violently sodomized by demons right now for all the bad jokes I told. My wet-ass pussy. Beat it up. Catch a charge for this wet. I wish my pussy was wet. It hurts so bad down here in hell. The aristocrats. R.I.P. R.I.P.
A true legend.
One of the greatest.
Not forgotten.
One of the greatest to ever touch the mic. Just a generation of like comedy legends have all died.
Yeah,
like, the past.
that's true.
Like, Louis Anderson, Bob Saget, Norm, Gilbert Gottfried. Well, you know, someone's got to step on the place to keep the world full of smiles and laughter. So, gentlemen,
That's where we come in, baby.
let's get into it.
Yeah, sometimes people, they get decapitated on the assembly line at the Smile Factory. But 4 more Smile assemblers will step up in their place. Because you know what? The labor market at the Smile Factory, well, that isn't tight at all. Most smile makers make nothing.
Yep, they do it for the love of the smiles.
Yeah, and that's how it should be.
I wish it was as tight as my asshole was before I was in hell. All right, let's get some laughs and smiles, rippling through the universe by talking about the subway mass shooting in Brooklyn. Let's go, baby! New York City, we don't stop. Let me ask you, fellas, what's more New York than that?
Greatest city in the world, baby.
Greatest city in the world. Brooklyn, we go hard. Brooklyn is the borough. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. And hey, can we get some working security cameras in the subway? What's up with that?
I actually, this reminds me of a little New York slice of life. In 2015, when I just moved here, I actually had just committed a mass shooting on the subway my 3rd day here, and similar to this guy, I dropped my debit card in my plastic bag full of fireworks. Yeah, it just happens. And I was like, I went into the bodega and I was like, "Do you have a debit card?" And he couldn't give it to me, but he gave me the card reader machine, which I then used to get another identity after committing a mass shooting in my first week in New York.
Where concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
Yeah, this guy did it in Sunset Park, where I don't know if they have bodegas, as far as my knowledge. For people who don't know, Sunset Park is it's like more working class neighborhood, and everyone who lives in like functionally 30 miles away was like, "I'm okay." This subway station that they'll like never be in.
Yeah, that is very funny. People who like never go south of the park.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine, folks. Don't worry about it.
I've never been there.
Well, I got into it with our old nemesis, the Alamo Drafthouse Theater, over this mass shooting.
Those motherfuckers.
Because, I was scheduled to go see Michael Bay's latest masterpiece, Ambulance, that evening, and Alamo canceled all movies for the day of the shooting. And,
Have they never heard the phrase, "the show must go on"?
And I made a tweet about that in jest, saying, I won't be intimidated by terrorism. I'll just go to another movie theater, which I did. But some little snot, some fucking brat in my mentions, tagged Alamo Drafthouse and was like, they're just trying to keep their employees safe, but go off much, I guess. And then Alamo Drafthouse, their official account, just replied with a heart. And first of all, I mean, they could, just pay for a taxi for their employees. And I know someone who works at Alamo Drafthouse and they fucking hate it. So I can't imagine this was too much to do with the well-being of their employees. But, whatever, it's movie magic will not be stopped. I still went to the movie because I'm a real New Yorker.
Well, that
Alamo Drafthouse, go back to Texas, you fucking losers. Stay out of New York.
Well, that guy couldn't even get into the movie theater because he dropped his debit card. He wouldn't be able to order a Sausalito caramel chocolate pecan chunk cookie surprise during a showing of Morbius. So they were really in no danger. If he had started shooting, that would have violated Alamo Drafthouse silence policy during screenings.
Yeah, he would have been asked to leave.
Yeah, probably about the time he not even fired the first shot, but if you heard him cock his rifle or pistol, they'd be like, "Hey, I'm trying to enjoy Noah Baumbach's new movie Grad School, whatever the fuck." Like, you shut the fuck up. Stop
Well,
cleaning your gun.
sorry for all the local content, but now that the Court Street movie theater has closed down, downtown Brooklyn's only movie theater has the essentially the movie theater equivalent of the no fitted hat policy that bars in New York sometimes impose. We'll see how that goes, but good on Alamo Draft House for, of course, putting the safety of their employees first. Okay, all right, let's talk about the shooting itself because look, just like and like most of the times, an incident like this happens, and like what I want to say first and foremost, but this one, like the best news is like thankfully no one was killed. There were
Yes.
injuries, but like I'm just very very good that no one was killed in this act of terrorism or whatever. But whenever one of these things happens, and like all these weird details begin to pile up, it's like you sort of have to like question for yourself, like does it certainly seems like a sort of Gladio strategy of tension kind of thing, and there's a lot of like weird incongruities with like the security cameras not working, or just like how easy, like they're leaving his fucking credit card at the scene and the gun that he purchased legally to like do this attack, discrepancies in the eyewitness accounts. But again, eyewitness accounts in a situation like that, like who the fuck knows how reliable they are. So I mean, once again, you're left with a question of like sort of like how when people seem like they're ops or wreckers or something, you have to ask yourself like, are they actually like part of some intelligence operation, or do the intelligence agencies essentially not need to recruit people to do this kind of thing because like there are so many just angry violent loners ready to do this kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, like it's essentially will always be impossible to say, but like what do you guys make of this shooting?
I try not to like immediately go to the FBI made this guy do something. You don't want to like always be completely reactive and just say that before you know anything. And like, I don't know, it's like it's fucking weird that they're like, oh yeah, he dropped his debit card, but then you kind of have to remember Elmore Leonard's guiding principle that like a lot of criminals are just stupid.
Yeah.
Like that is some stupid shit that like a stupid guy who just randomly shoots up a subway car would do, right?
Yeah.
The camera thing is fucking weird, but that could also be like, who knows? I mean, like, do you remember like the subway slasher, like hot
Mm-hmm.
seat
Yeah.
guy,
Oh yeah.
and how like the cops hid from him?
Cops locked
Right.
themselves in the
Yeah.
the cab of the subway
Right.
car.
So like, yeah. So maybe like cops did something like that. The NYPD is like, oh, actually, like, somehow we set off an EMP that deleted everyone's cell phone footage and the cameras failed. So, but we acted bravely. Like, trust us. Like, I mean, there's like, there's multiple levels of explanations you can get for everything. With the highest level being like this guy was conditioned or is completely fictitious or something, and the lowest level being this is just like a fucking idiot like most attempted spree killers are, and was even dumber than them, and it's also police incompetence.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the funniest thing about the
Yeah.
whole thing is just the absolute keystone coppery of the NYPD.
Yeah.
That shit about how like the officer on the scene was like, "Oh, my radio isn't working. Could you guys just call 911?"
They were doing like
And-
the Scooby Doo chase. They were like accidentally chasing each other through subway cars. They were like
were-
on top of each other at some point.
The
They're
shooter
in a
got away.
trench coat.
The shooter got away because all the cops are doing the Hanna-Barbera running style where their feet go in motion for about 10 or 20 seconds before they dart off in one direction. But like, yeah, like, so if we are like, if one is to believe that this is some sort of like, yeah, like directed at like the New York City subway system, directed at Eric Adams, some sort of like, just like traumatic event that's designed to like, just whip people up into a frenzy of like fear over like crime and their personal safety. It's like they couldn't have picked like a worse one to demonstrate like the effectiveness of more
Yeah.
policing. To like, but then again, like like these things don't necessarily have to make like logical sense, because if people feel afraid for their lives, like
Yeah,
the,
that's
the
I mean, like,
inherent.
yeah, there doesn't need to be any like actual content here beyond just the headline of, shooting up the subway. It just needs if there's just an increase in ambient sense of risk and danger, it doesn't really matter if the cops were like doing TikToks outside while the dude shot up the fucking subway, or the fact that apparently he called himself. They couldn't find him for 30 hours. Then he called the cops himself and then they didn't show up.
And then it was a
they found him
bodega
in,
guy.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, they found him in like East Village, which is like a hilarious place for him to be.
Right
I
by
mean,
the
like,
First
yeah,
Avenue McDonald's, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, there's an argument to be made that, like, if this was an inside job, like, why was it so fucked up? But I mean, it could just be that, like, arguing the case of the conspiracy side that, like, you don't let in the patrolmen on the thing and they just like act how they would if this wasn't an inside
Right.
job. But I mean, again, I don't really feel comfortable saying that with what little we know.
Yeah, we don't
You
know
know?
anything.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I just think like with all these things, like they'll just like always remain in this like just cloud of just weirdness, but like the net result of it is like just like the further I don't know like just destabilization of our society and just like the further like just like alienation and fear levels just being like cranked up to like ever higher levels. I mean, like, what we can say about what we know about the guy who's been arrested for this, Frank James, is that like, he had like he was basically like an angry guy on YouTube, and he focused a lot of his like ire and like attention on Eric Adams, and like the only thing I can make of this is that it is like having a swagged out mayor has like an equal and opposite anti swag reaction because this guy
Yeah.
was a real fucking loser. Like no swag and like from what I can tell, like not a whole lot of coherent ideology outside of like a violent hatred of women.
Very
And-
common among shooters.
Yeah,
That is the
Weirdly
common thread
universal
with all
there.
like spree killers and shit.
Yeah, like when you got a swagged out mayor just out there like doing him, you're gonna have people looking at him and kind of seeing everything that they don't have and getting pissed.
Yeah, this guy had like one of the worst / best examples of NAFTA body I've ever seen.
But yeah, like like I mean, it's just like with this is just like just thank God no one was actually killed in this. I mean, like it's amazing no one died. I mean, like many people were shot, but like apparently him setting off those like smoke grenades in the subway car probably saves a lot of people's lives. Because like
Yeah.
he set it off in like a fucking enclosed car and was like, oh, this is going to obscure the view of all my victims.